Hey, what's up, you guys? WWE fan 0599 here again, and today is the day. People, today is the day. And that is time for the best movies of 2015. The top 10 best movies of 2015. And oh my goodness, this has been an up and down year for film, honestly. You know, in the beginning, we had a lot of garbage movies. It was looking really bad for 2015, but then the end of the year, you know, the fall season came, and we had some great movies in the fall season. You know, so it's been mostly an up and down year. But we're not here to talk about the worst films. No, today we're here to talk about the best. So, before we get into my top 10 best movies of 2015, let's get into some honorable mentions that I have. I have 12 honorable mentions. First, Cinderella. Spy. Dope. The Death of Superman Lives. What Happened? Ex Machina. Entourage. Southpaw. Shaun the Sheep movie. Everest. The Gift. The Walk. And Spectre. Those are my honorable mentions for this top 10 list. So, without further ado, let's get into my top 10 best movies of 2015. Coming in at number 10 is Sicario. Man, did I love this movie. Did I love this movie. Okay, I get some people were iffy on it because, you know, of the pacing and everything, but you know what? I loved it. I thought it was an awesome movie. It was a very, very intense, gripping, and thrilling movie at times. You know, sure, maybe not the most intense thing as a lot of people like to make it out to be, but this movie still was intense. I was invested, mostly throughout the entire film. That highway scene, the scene on the highway, is the best scene in the entire film. It's absolutely incredible. The way it was well shot, well executed. Emily Blunt gives a fantastic performance in Sicario. It's one of her best performances. Benicio del Toro is awesome in this movie, okay? Where's his Best Supporting Actor nomination in any of these award shows? Come on, people. This guy was awesome in this movie. I love Benicio del Toro in this movie, you know? He was great. And everyone else was great, too. This was just an incredible film. And I loved Sicario, you know? And, I just thought it was an absolutely incredible film. So, yeah, Sicario comes in at number 10. Number 9. AntMan. AntMan. Man, this was great, honestly, you know. I love Marvel, you love Marvel, we all love Marvel, but some people were very skeptical about AntMan. You know, some people were like, oh, this is going to be Marvel's first failure, you know, this looks silly, this looks, you know, pretty garbage, but I didn't think that. I thought this movie looked great from the second I heard of it, honestly, you know. And, you know, with Guardians of the Galaxy, which was last year, which I absolutely love that film, I cherish it, you know, this is kind of the same thing. And Ant-Man, guess what? Proved them all wrong again because this was a great movie, and I loved it as well. You know, Paul Rudd as Scott Lang / Ant-Man, he was great. He did an absolutely fantastic job in this movie. I loved him as Scott Lang / Ant-Man. He was great in this film. And, you know, he did an absolutely incredible job as Scott Lang. You know, everyone else was great, like Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. And, of course, Michael Pena. Michael Pena was hilarious in this film. And the action was incredible in Ant-Man. I love the action. Some great, well-filmed action, in my opinion. And I love that with Ant-Man, it was an absolutely, really well-shot, you know, film with the action and stuff. And beautifully directed by Peyton Reed, in my opinion. You know, he did such a great job with the directing. The visuals looked great whenever he would shrink down and stuff. Just the movie, it also had some touching moments, honestly, Ant-Man. And I love that about Ant-Man. So, yeah, Ant-Man is my number 9 on my best list. So, yeah. My number 8. A film that came all the way back in January. Yeah, you're like, what, January? Yep. And that movie is Predestination. Now, I know some people are going to be like, oh, it's not a 2015 movie. It came out in Germany last year, and it came out in festivals. It was released worldwide in 2015. It's a 2015 movie. Okay? It came out in the US this year, so it's a 2015 movie. So, Predestination. This movie honestly blew my mind. From the first time I saw it, all the way back in January, like I said, it just blew my mind of what they did with time traveling in this film. This is one of the best time traveling films I've ever seen in my life, honestly. And, you know, just the element of time travel, how they use it in this movie is incredible. I love that. And, you know, that's not the main thing about the movie. The main thing is about this girl. You know, how he's telling this story about this girl. And I love seeing that. That was incredible. You know, the way they were telling this story and everything. And the way everything concludes. This has the best ending of the year. This movie. This movie has the best ending of the year. Honestly. Just the way everything ties together at the end is mind-blowing. I love that. I was just left speechless after watching this movie. You know. Just absolutely incredible. Definitely a movie I can rewatch. Even though knowing what happens in the film, you know, maybe it's not as mind-blowing, but when you watch it the second time, but I don't care. It was such an incredible movie. You know, The Matrix blew my mind when I saw that for the first time, and now that's one of my favorite films of all time. I could still rewatch that, even with still, you know, maybe it's still mind-blowing to watch that, and it probably would still be mind-blowing to see that again, you know. So yeah, Predestination is my number 8, so yeah. My number 7, now we're getting down to the 7 films I gave an A+ to this year, and this is one of them. My number 7 is Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton, man, this movie was incredible. I loved Straight Outta Compton, an excellent biopic on NWA. I love this about this movie. It was an excellent biopic on NWA. Now, I wasn't too familiar with the band, you know. All I knew is that Ice Cube was in it. You know, Ice Cube was in NWA. They were like, oh, okay, cool. But seeing what they went through as a band and seeing what happened to them as a band, you know, as friends, really, it was incredible to watch, and some of the most engaging stuff I saw all year, honestly. You know, seeing what happens to them, seeing the rough neighborhood they lived in was absolutely mesmerizing to watch. And the performance that O'Shea Jackson Jr., which is Ice Cube's son, gives as Ice Cube is incredible. And the guy who plays Eazy-E, I'm sorry I forgot his name, but he was absolutely incredible as well. I think he gave the best performance in the entire film. Just Straight Outta Compton is an absolutely incredible film. If you haven't seen it, please see it. So yeah, my number 7 is Straight Outta Compton. My number 6 is the first movie I gave an A+ to this year. Well, I think it just might have spoiled it, but who cares? My number 6 is Kingsman, The Secret Service. Kingsman, man, Kingsman. I love this movie. This movie was so action-packed and so awesome. Like, honestly, I think this is the most fun in terms of, like, watching an action. Maybe this is the most fun I had all year. Honestly, because this movie was so fun to watch. It really was. I love this movie so much. It was so brutal. It really was. Like, it's violent, really, this movie. It was very brutal, especially that church scene, which is one of the best scenes of the year. I love that about the movie. It's by far the best scene. Teljo Edgerton, I'm not so sure how to say his name, but he was great. He did an absolutely incredible job in the film. Colin Firth, whoa, did he surprise me of how much he's, like, an awesome spy, honestly. He was awesome in this movie. I loved him in this movie. Samuel L. Jackson was great as the villain. I don't think enough people are talking about him as one of the best villains of the year, because he was great. But yeah, like I said, the action was great. The directing by Matthew Vaughn. Man, Matthew Vaughn's the man. He really is. He did such a great job with this movie, honestly, and with the directing and everything. So yeah. Kingsman: The Secret Service was just such an awesome movie. I love this film. Definitely something I can rewatch over and over again. So yeah. Number 5 is Avengers Age of Ultron. Now I know people are going to be like, why is this so high on your list, dude? This movie was so disappointing. I don't care. I love this movie. I loved it to death. It's 2015's Man of Steel. It's the 2015 Man of Steel and Godzilla. It is. It's the movie that doesn't get enough respect. It is the most unappreciated film of the year. It's Avengers Age of Ultron, because this movie was an absolutely masterpiece of a comic book movie. This is everything you want out of a comic book film. Great action. You got great action. Check. Great characters. Check. Great villain. Check. Great pacing. Check. Great directing. Check. You just got a lot of things that are great about this movie. I feel a lot of people overlook that, because there are some great character moments. Like, with Captain America and Iron Man and Hulk especially, and Thor and Hawkeye especially. I should have said it for Hawkeye, but especially Hawkeye. Just some incredible action. Some of the best action I've seen all year. With the whole Hulkbuster scene and the final action piece to the movie. This movie's absolutely incredible. I was invested throughout the entire film. I loved it. It was an absolutely incredible sequel to the Avengers. I thought this was a perfect sequel to the Avengers. I really did. This movie was absolutely incredible. I loved every second of it. So yeah, Avengers Age of Ultron is an absolutely unappreciated movie, and I love it so much. So my number 5 is Avengers Age of Ultron. Number 4. My number 4 is The Martian. The Martian, man. Man, this movie... I knew this movie was going to be great, but in my top 5, I did not expect that, honestly. I expected this to be, such a great sci-fi. I didn't expect it to be an absolute masterpiece of a sci-fi movie, honestly. This movie is incredible. I loved The Martian. It's an absolutely enthralling, incredible film. I love this movie so much. I was so invested. Whenever he was on Mars, I was so invested in this film, seeing what he has to do to survive on Mars, get messages through people, make food for himself, and it was absolutely great. Even the stuff on NASA, I know a lot of people weren't invested in that, but really I was. I loved seeing the stuff on NASA. That was still interesting to me. And Matt Damon was absolutely incredible in this film. He did such an incredible job in this movie. Everybody was incredible, honestly, Great ensemble, in my opinion, The Martian was just such an incredible film, such a beautiful film to look at, honestly. Really Scott did a really good job directing this film. And I just thought The Martian was just such an incredible film. It really was. I loved every second of The Martian, so that's why it's my number 4. Number 3, we're at the top 3, and these are the 3 movies that really, really impacted me the most this year. So coming in at number 3 is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This was my most anticipated movie of the year. Or maybe in a long time. Not since Toy Story 3 have I been more anticipated for a movie than this. Honestly, I was so excited for the film. I was just so incredibly excited. And let me just tell you, I was not disappointed at all with this movie. This movie is such an incredible, it's an incredible installment to this franchise. I love this franchise so much. Discount the first 2 prequels, of course, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. This has been a great franchise, and a franchise that means a lot to people. And this 7th installment into the series was absolutely incredible. And just such an emotional film as well, really. Some emotional moments, of course, no spoilers. I'm not like that, but just some emotional moments, some great action, especially that lightsaber battle was absolutely incredible to watch. The the blaster scenes were absolutely incredible as well. Kylo Ren, the best villain of the year, He's the best villain of the year. Such an intimidating villain. He was absolutely incredible. You know, Daisy Ridley as Ray, she was amazing. She gave the best performance in the entire film. John Boyega as Finn, he was great as well. Oscar Isaac as Poe, so awesome. And seeing Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, seeing all of them coming back for the film was absolutely incredible, and I loved it. I love this movie so much. It's an absolutely incredible film. It's such a great installment into this franchise, and I loved it so much. I was not disappointed with Star Wars: The Force Awakens, so that's why it's my number 3. Number 2 is Inside Out. Inside Out, man, I love this movie so much. It was such an incredible movie. It honestly is. It's an animated masterpiece, and it just connected so much. And this is by far the most emotional film of the year. There's no more emotional film than Inside Out, honestly. And I thought it was absolutely incredible, this movie. The animation was absolutely incredible with the film. The voice acting was great, of course. Amy Poehler as Joy, she was great. I just thought everyone did a great job, and like I said, the emotional core of this film really hit with me. It was absolutely great in my opinion, and definitely something that can make you cry, honestly. And just Inside Out was an absolutely incredible film. I loved every second of it. So yeah, Inside Out was my number 2. Okay, guys, my number 1 favorite movie of 2015. I'm pretty sure I don't even have to tell you guys my favorite, but I'm going to just show it anyways. Mad Max Fury Road. Alright, I'm going to tell you why this is the best film of the year. This is a cinematic achievement, this movie. This movie is a cinematic achievement. This is a masterpiece of a film. No, not since The Dark Knight or Toy Story 3 have I been so blown away by a film. I'm being serious right now. This movie impacted me so much as a film lover. I love this movie so much. This is an absolutely incredible film. And, in a year where we did have Star Wars and, like Jurassic World and stuff like that, big franchises like that, it was Mad Max that stand out the most to me. And it was just an absolutely incredible film. The action is incredible. I love the action with this movie. This is one of the best directed films I've ever seen in my life. The directing with the film by George Miller is absolutely incredible. I love how he took a risk and did something different. Mostly everything with this film you see is practical. There is some CGI, of course, with the sandstorm and everything, but most of this film is practical effects. The explosions you see are real. The vehicles they're driving, they're real. The desert that they're in, they're real. And he really puts you in that world. And I love that about this movie. He puts you in the world of Mad Max. And I love that about the movie. And Tom Hardy, I know everybody's saying he's not Oscar worthy in this movie, but he was really good as Max Rokitansky. I really enjoyed him in the film. Charlize Theron, who gave the best performance, I think, in the entire film. I know I said in my review it was Nicholas Hoult, but I rewatched the film again last night. It really is Charlize Theron's movie. She's absolutely mesmerizing, and she should win Best Actress in a Leading Role at the Oscars. No woman deserves it more than her. She was absolutely incredible in this movie. Like I said, Nicholas Hoult is great as well. He was absolutely incredible as Nux. He has the most diverse character of the year. Honestly, he does. I forgot the dude who plays Immortan Joe, his name, but he was great. One of the best villains of the year. He was absolutely incredible. Everything about this movie screams a masterpiece. Everything about this movie is incredible. I have watched the movie 3 times now since I've seen it. I love this movie. I'll watch it 3 more times. I'll watch it 100 more times. This movie impacted me, people. This is a movie I love to death now. I love Mad Max Fury Road, and there is no doubt in my mind that it is the best movie of 2015. No other movie compares to it. It is the best movie of 2015. So, guys, that is my top 10 best movies of 2015. What did you guys think of this list? Leave it in the comment section below. And what are your top 10 best movies of 2015? Leave that in the comments as well. And I'm WWE Fan 0599. And stay tuned tomorrow for my top 10 worst list. So, yep, tune into that. I'm WWE Fan 0599. And we'll see you all later. Peace.